Have the honor of introducing Jim Nunley. And Jim Nunley was at Duke, and Leonard Goldner, who all of you know, said, we need a foot and ankle surgeon, and Jim Nunley was the man for the job. And so let's go back to 1998 when Jim was president of society and he had a presidential address. And let's maybe pick that apart just a little bit, this privilege and responsibility message that Jim sent. So first he said that it's a benefit, we need to benefit from privileges and accept the responsibilities. I think that's a pretty important message. And the first of the privileges was friendship. I think that's very important as we go through this. So here's some of Jim's friends over the years, and very influential people, as you all know. But he emphasized friendship first. And so I reached out to a few of his friends and asked, what can you tell me about Jim as he accepts this award in recognition? And Mike said, there are few individuals in the AOFAS who are as fine a speaker as Jim Nunley. His ability to concisely speak on any host of topics is legendary, and he is truly one of the best lecturers and speakers I've had the privilege to know, and there's that word privilege again, so congratulations, Jim. I reached out to Tom Clanton, too. Tom had a lot to say. Tom's in the audience here, and he said he was in a lot of committees and did a lot with the AOFAS, and was there when Jim started with the board, and was in the presidential line just before Jim became president. So he listened to him discuss on various matters, and just really appreciated his knowledge, his thought process, and especially his negotiating ability. And then he became president of the AOFAS 2 years, and if you recall, that's when the past president is on the board for another 3 years. And so Tom said he really benefited from all that, the historical knowledge and from that continuity that Jim provided when he served on the board with him. And then Tom and Jim have taken care of many athletes over the years, and well-known athletes, and so second opinions abounded. And so I think that Tom recognized that there was always valuable input from Jim. And before Jim Nunley took on the chairmanship of Duke Orthopaedics, he also reached out to Tom, and they shared experiences, and certainly was a lot of learning on how to do all that, take on those responsibilities, the privilege of those responsibilities, but also balance that with family life. And you saw Rick Ferkel there, and I reached out to Rick, and Rick said, look, for many years, Jim and I used to have a running bet on basketball between Duke and UCLA. The loser would have to wear the shirt from the winner's team, and here he is in the appropriate attire, which probably pained Jim Nunley to no end. But it's all in good friendship and back and forth. Now, Rick Ferkel took that a little bit further when he came to Duke, and there's Coach Krzyzewski, Coach K, and presented him with the UCLA jersey as well. But quite good. It's all fun with the friendship. And then the next privilege Jim pointed out was education. And I think that's really important, and that's second on the tier after friendship. And so there's a responsibility to educate others. And Jim just said, look, if you don't get involved in education, then who will? And this is really a genuine love for teaching that goes strong until this day. Every week, Jim Nunley is still there. He loves nothing more than being with the fellows and residents, and that can be in just small sessions like you see here or in the operating room. And then Jim always has something meaningful to teach you, whether it's at the podium, whether he's on a panel, or if he's in the audience. He is a true educator and loves that, and that'll never stop. And he's a great role model in that regard, as are many others. And one of those is also research. And the research he did, if you look, is really to answer tough questions. If you look at each one of these studies, they're not powder puff, I did 50 of these, and these are how the patients did. This is a real deep dive into some very complicated issues, and helps others understand how to better treat their patients. And he puts out publications that make an impact and also will prompt responses from others. The AOFAS scoring system, be it perfect or not, he was instrumental in making that happen. And then he also adds other meaningful publications, like getting to the root of the value of fellowship training. He took some of this to another level. He's won the Roger Mann Award. In addition to having won the Leonard Goldner Award, I didn't put that up there because you might think there's a little bias given his history, but he has won that award more than once as well. This is a worldwide reaching influence that Jim Nunley has created. It's a truly international foot and ankle program, and it continues as one of the elite programs. And even though he may not be at the helm, he is still there day to day, making a contribution. He also pointed out that you need to educate yourself. And I tell you, this is maybe a little humorous, some of the ideas he has, but I tell you that the wheels are always turning. He never stops learning for himself, and that's always to the benefit of others. And then we do make contributions to our own organization. Every year you look and see who has taken some of their own funds and put them toward making this society better and helping particularly to fund research. One of the emphases that he had in his message to the society at the time, and that continues till today. And he also emphasized to get involved in advocacy. He said it's critical for you, the members, to get involved with our campaign, whether by direct letter writing, personal contracting, congressional consultants and legislators, or through patient advocacy groups. So that has been a focus of his, and he recognized that early and continues to make that an important part of what we do and encourages others to do so. And there he is. Look at him. He's writing his congressman himself right there, just sweating over that to make sure he delivers a good message. Jim Urbanek was the chairman at Duke before Jim Nunley was there, and I reached out to Jim Urbanek, and Jim said, look, he served as president for more societies than you can think of, so he's doing all this for the AOFAS while also having leadership roles in other societies, but he also served as chief of orthopaedics at Duke, and his accomplishments, which Jim Urbanek said, were many, but he took the division to a department, and he also was there to add more distinguished chairs, and he really expanded the clinical and research operations of the department. Continues to go strong, and the success of Duke, really a lot of it rests on Jim Nunley's shoulders. He's a strong family man. This is his family, and he has successful, well, Elise obviously is successful, but he's got successful kids, and one is a premier orthopedic total joint surgeon, far better surgeon than Jim Nunley. Don't tell him I said that, but quite accomplished, and he also has just an extended family that you see where they all gravitate around Jim Nunley, and he's the same way. That same family spirit goes with the fellows and research fellows and residents who come. This is at Jim's Lake House, where he invites them to take them out. And then intermittently that we'll have some bigger events. And this is Jim Nunley sharing some of his family experience with our division of foot and ankle. This was just at Christmas time in the holidays just this past year. And you can see all of our faculty members there, truly part of a family that Jim Nunley has created. And this extends to the operating room right down to our scrub techs and our circulators, and the team is all part of Jim Nunley's family. And if you look around the world, I think you'll find so many friends. Back to the number one point, it's friendship with this organization. It's not just in the AOFAS, but extends well beyond that. I want to finish with that. I used to joke that Jim Nunley owns me. I was his junior partner, and anything that I wanted to do was basically dictated by Jim Nunley. And then it really came to a head one day. I couldn't find my lead in the operating room, and there it was on Jim Nunley, and sure enough. So I always joked about that he owned me to the end, but then recently he said, I hate to say it, Mark, but I think we make a pretty good team, and I'll let him wear my lead anytime. He certainly is a great teammate, but he's my colleague and my mentor, and most importantly, he's my friend. And so I'd like to introduce or present to you Jim Nunley as a pillar of the AOFAS. Jim?